Okay, this is how I made $625 day trading NASDAQ yesterday, February 9th, 2026. Coming into the morning, the first thing that I noticed was we had this SMT here on hourly/4 hour where NQ failed to put in a higher high, ES put in a higher high. And then once we did that, we're getting some sort of a little bit retrace reaction off of it. So the way I viewed this is we have one or two things that can happen. We still have this big illiquid price range here that ES could run through. And as we see or have seen, once we get a big swift move up like this, once price starts trading back down into it, we get just as swift of a move back through it because there's not many contradicting orders, stop and buy orders in here, liquidity levels for us to reverse off of. So we can have one or two things that can happen. We have NQ trade back down into this range, and once it takes that London session low, continue to push through it, maybe bounce off this prior day London session high, kind of really could do whatever. Or what we could do is come down one index, take out London session low, and then give a SMT, which ideally I would have liked to see ES be bullish, more bullish to the upside. Would have liked to see NQ come down, take out London session low, play out this SMT a little bit here, which then would allow ES to run up, take London high, Asia high, and then once we get into this illiquid price range here, it's a big range, ultimately just push all the way through it. But that is a large range daily ATR for price to move that far. So was open to really anything, as we just have to see what the market's going to show us coming into the day, into the open. Let's get this 15-minute candle here on both indexes. Opening candle, what we have is ES puts in a higher high, NQ puts in a lower high. So what we do is we have one index that takes out London session. So this is one thing I was open for. I really like to see NQ take out this London session, which then would allow ES to run and fill in all these imbalances to the upside. But also was acknowledging that this SMT here could be almost considered complete once we take out this high here. Once we take out this level here on the 15-minute hour or half an hour, whatever level you want to call it. And as I said, if we put in an SMT here, as you can see, NQ's hovered underneath it. Once we sweep this could have allowed NQ to run and go deeper. So I really would have liked to see NQ take this level as well, so we did not have a SMT favoring bears to the downside, because then we have conflicting SMTs at that point. So coming down to the 5-minute. So this is 9:45. This is 9:50. We drop down to the 5-minute on ES. So this is, where's the 9:50 candle? Right here. So what we do is we have both levels take out this level here. So we have no SMT, so that's great. So what we have at this point is we still have, you could consider this SMT from this level up to this level and this level down to this level, but it almost could have been considered complete once we sweep out this hourly pivot here. So not as much emphasis on that, and we can see that NQ is even stronger at this point. So a little bit of conflicting information there. We would have liked to see ES be more bullish to the upside, but NQ's ultimately shown us that it wants to be stronger. So once I see both indexes take out this level here, on the 15-minute, what we did was we closed. I'll show you what the 15-minute looks like too. What we do is we end up inversing a 15-minute gap, the highest 15-minute gap on both indexes as well, which really led me more to be more bullish. These yellow gaps are fair value gaps on the 15-minute. On the first 15 minutes open, ES blows through both of them. Okay, so at that point, what I really would have liked to see is ES retrace, us put in an SMT within this fair value gap here, where NQ puts in a lower low, ES puts in a higher low, and then I'm longing somewhere in here to target all these highs on ES. But as I mentioned, once I saw NQ take out this level here, and ES take out this level here, which eliminated any bearish SMT to send NQ short, paired with the fact that on the 15-minute, both indexes inversed all these fair value gaps. What I was looking for is, after this push up, I was looking for some sort of retrace, index give a low time frame SMT, which we could use to target highs. So ultimately, even though NQ put in this lower low to take out London session, ES put in the higher low, and the SMT on the higher time frame could have been considered favoring ES, NQ's draws on liquidity are almost a lot. They look a lot nicer because we have a lot of low resistance liquidity here on NQ. So dropping down to the 5-minute, as I had mentioned, once I saw those 15-minute gaps get inversed, at that point I was just looking, as we see these yellow levels are 15-minute gaps. I was looking for some sort of retrace. This brown level here is a 5-minute gap, and what we end up having is a SMT. It's kind of hard to see here on the 5-minute, but what it does is end up being SMT on the 1-minute from this low down to this low, and from this low up to this high. So once ES puts in this, and on the 1-minute, it's a very, very sharp move. I'll show you what I mean. I'll bring over ES's 1-minute. This is the stick right here, this massive stick here that formed this SMT. So ES goes down, takes out this, and Q stays hovering above it. And on the 1-minute, what that looks like is me entering super high into premium. This was a little bit of a FOMO entry. I should have waited for a retrace. But since I entered this high up, knowing that we could retrace, I entered in light size. And what I did was I placed my stop underneath this 5-minute fair value gap here. Place my stop underneath this 5-minute fair value gap, because if we were going to retrace into this 5-minute gap, which I really would have liked to see to begin with, really what I should have waited for before I even took my entry, I really just kind of gave this a little bit more room to wiggle, and you see the risk to reward's not great. So, as I said, I entered this very light size, and what I end up waiting for is this retrace. Like I'd mentioned, how many times we test this 1-minute gap and don't break through it was a little concerning. You can see that we make a lot of pushes to the upside, never broke structure. But once we inverse this gap, this was the confirmation I needed to enter more size. You can see I entered here. I moved stops up to the bottom of this candle. So once we inverse that, I want to see us move away from this 5-minute inverse gap. You can see that we tested 3 times, 3 different wicks on the 5-minute over here. So once we make this push inverse this 1-minute gap, I want to see price move away from this. I move up stops, enter in more size. I sell half here, another third here, or no, another con here. I think I had 1 or 2 more. Yeah, I had 2 more contracts that I was going to sell up here at this last take profit level, which was Asia session high, I believe. Yeah, Asia session high. So no, it was not. It was not Asia session high. It was this hourly level here, because Asia session's way up here. I did not want to target that. That was a little unrealistic for me. It was really this top level of all these little low resistance hourly levels. So you can see how close we got, and then price retraces, quite literally stops me out almost to the tick. And I don't know why this is a reoccurring thing for me, where either my stops or my entries get hit break even or stopped out, and then price ends up going and confirming the bias of my trade that I took. I don't know. I'm gonna have to put a little cloud underneath my stop and move it a handful of points, I guess. It's become frustrating and concerning how much I get exact stopped out. But as you see, price then ended up continued to go all the way up. I think it took out Asia session as well. Yeah. But so this was very, very close to being my highest trading profit day that I've had. This was very close to going from being a $600 win to like a $1,700 win because I had my last take profit up here, but I ended up getting stopped at break even. That's just part of it. It's very frustrating, and like I said, it's not ideal, but it's something I have to live with. It's definitely testing my patience and my sanity. I partially feel like I'm losing my mind because how much I get top ticked. I mean, if you watch the trade recaps I've been recording, I get top ticked and bottom ticked very often. And I'll show you what I mean. I did not take a trade today. Let me pull up. Where is it? What did I need? ES. Yeah, let me pull this up. Let me go to today. I didn't take a trade today, but I'll show you more of what I mean. What we had today is we had SMT where NQ came down, took out Asia and London session lows right here. As you can see, we took out London Asia session lows, these orange levels here. And then but before we did that, we put in a almost equal high, one tick high away from this hourly level on ES. So these were strong draws on liquidity. And then we have London session and then this previous high day here, all relatively equal. But at open, ES comes up, puts in almost equal highs with this hourly level. But then NQ comes down, takes out London session low, which was almost equal with this hourly low. So a bunch of equal levels here. NQ comes down, takes out the shorts first. So then, by default, I was wanting to target ES longs. And what happened was we inversed this gap on the 5-minute and just never got any sort of retrace. I did not want to enter as high up into a premium today as I did yesterday. I was waiting for the retrace and we never ended up getting it. Let me get to today. I'm going to show you where my entry would have been. My entry would have been, and I could have argued that I could have entered here once this top 1-minute gap got inversed. But the 5-minute had still not closed, so we very well could have ended up respecting this fair value gap on the 5-minute and sent NQ shorter. The 5-minute candle closed right here, and I was not about to enter up here. I was not about to do it. I was waiting for some sort of retrace back down into this gap that got inversed. But if I had entered this based on this 1-minute gap here getting inversed trade, I would have entered in on this candle close. As you can see, price runs up, runs up, runs up. And what we have is my last take profits. What I would have had is this hourly, previous high day. And then I would have banked on ES running through the rest of this gap to test. Oh, let me put this back. To test what would be this previous session, London session low, which is this first level. And then this is a 4-hour pivot low, which you can't see by looking at the hourly chart. But as you can see, I would have entered, got almost all my take profits except for these last one or two, and then almost got stopped out exactly, break even again before price ended up and I would not have hit that by one tick and would have got break even anyway. But I'm just rambling at this point. This trade that I took on NQ yesterday was a nice one. I should have waited. As I said, I should have waited for the 1-minute retrace, this 5-minute retrace here, rather than entering in my first size up here, just based off this 1-minute SMT with how strong this 5-minute candle is. Should have waited for the retrace, but what we did is we ended up getting it and getting a little bit of profit. Price action has been pretty good for the month of February so far. I believe I've taken 3 trades and they've all been decent ones. So, but yeah, this was yesterday's trade recap, February 9th, 2026. And thank you.